Hey fellas, have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome before?
Dokapon Kingdom!
Well, you're looking right at it. Now, not to sound like that guy who brags about how much sex he doesn't have, but this is definitely one of the more obscure games I own and enjoy. And I wanted to talk about it because I don't think anyone knows that this game fucking exists. And that makes me a bit upset because I really like this game personally, and I don't see people talking about it online that much. But I guess that makes sense. It's not like this game sold all too well over here in the States, even though there's actually quite a few entries in this game series, from spin-offs to mobile games, but hardly any of them ever come over here to the West. The game was developed by Sting, a company also known for, the Jetson Invasion of the Planet Pirates? I'm sure someone played it as a kid. Dokapon Kingdom is apparently a remake of some Japanese shit, but that game of course never even left Japan, so it's essentially a new game to us stupid Americans over here. The game was received decently from what I found. This ridiculously short Wikipedia article on the game says it received mixed or average reviews, but just over here it shows the game getting 8s, and I mean come on. If I can't even trust Wikipedia, who can I trust? Also, apparently the Wii version was nominated for Best RPG by IGN in its 2008 Video Game Awards, which I don't really have anything to say about that. That's just weird. Persona 4 and Fallout 3 also released that year, but no, let's get that stupid board game on the Wii. But yeah, there are a couple different versions of this game, one for the PS2 and one for the Wii, and they're pretty much identical. But where do I rate this game? Yeah, pretty much the same as these guys. And well, I suppose now is as good a time as any to give a broad overview as to what the fuck a Dokapon is. Dokapon Kingdom is a multiplayer game that is a cross between a board game and an RPG, with the goal of having the most money in the end. And believe me, this shit is more addicting than any drug. You can trust me. I own a Wii U. I totally know what the letters D-R-U-G-S means. Oh fuck yeah, it's Mario. As far as the board game side of things go, there's a spinner and a board you play on. Don't know what much else you expected. And as far as RPG elements, there's XP, different stats to level up, different classes, weapons, spells, dungeons, kinda, all that sort of stuff, which is where most of the game's addictiveness comes from. And all of this is wrapped up with the game's very charming art style, which really helps give it an identity in my opinion. But don't let the charming visuals fool you. This game has got some patented bullshit mechanics in it. This game will put your mental to the fucking test. It does not give a shit about you as a person. It will punish the person in last place and help the person in first place if it feels like it. Hell, the person being bullied in last place can just suddenly decide to undo the last 20 hours of gameplay if they so choose. But that brings me to my next point, where a more realistic downside of this game for some may be just how fucking long it can last. Story mode can take around 20 to 30 hours, and it's not always reasonable to have multiple people sit around playing the game for that long. Like, imagine trying to convince your friends to play a 20-hour game of Monopoly. Who the fuck's gonna say yes to that? Don't get me wrong, there's definitely shit to keep it interesting the whole way through, like mastering different classes, random events, or even dumb shit like the prank system when you kill another player, but 20 to 30 hours is just quite the commitment. Not to mention the fact that the player who's in first place and the player who's in last place may have their positions swapped in a matter of a few turns in this game. And I'll go more into this in a minute, but while there are other modes that are shorter, I personally feel like it loses some of the charm, and the game's just not as engaging as it is in story mode. This game has gotten pretty rare over the years as it's faded into obscurity. I generally see it listed online for about a good $200 nowadays. Unless you're a sicko who wants it sealed, in which case then yeah, have fun not having $5,000. But I got my copy a while back at GameStop for $20, although it's in one of GameStop's classic shitty game cases. What kind of monster even only has the disc of a game lying around and decides, yeah, I'm gonna go sell that. Anyway, let's pop this bad boy in and see what it's like. Alright, fuck this. I'm trying to play a game, not watch an anime here.
Dokapon Kingdom! Welcome to Dokapon Kingdom!
What the fuck am I looking at? Thing looks like a tube of mint toothpaste. Why am I laughing at that? Here we're presented with 3 options: story mode, normal mode, and a battle royale. Story mode is of course the focus here, with multiple chapters, a main quest with big rewards, which after completion unlocks the next continent with stronger enemies, weapons, and you get the idea at this point. And of course, the person with the most money in the end is the winner. Next off, we have normal mode, where we start off by entering how many weeks we want to play for, then select our starting level, and bam! The whole map is unlocked, and it's just a matter of who has the most money before time is up. Also, as a side, it took way too much willpower on mine to not make a Fortnite joke, because, you know, this word.
Good choice. Battle Royale's my favorite.
But after going through all the game modes, and after playing this game on and off for many years, I can confidently say, just pick story mode every time. The other two options are really just if you don't have dozens of hours to waste on some weeb shit, but I don't know, man, I've just never felt the same charm in my experience with the other game modes. A lot of the impact of the bullshit in this game rides on the fact that you've dedicated so much time to a playthrough, and you know there's so much left and there's no way in hell you're gonna come in last place. Think of it like this. You don't really give a shit if you lose a game of Uno, but if you were involved in a game that lasted for a few days, well then your pride would be on the line, and that game would be a story for future generations, and you don't want to be known as a loser. Get fucked, idiot. Alright, let's just hop into story mode, and, well, seeing as I'm all alone, let's get a couple CPUs in here to substitute as friends. Now let's see here, name? Well, it is a newfound tradition for me if ever given the choice to name my character to go with Cum Crystal, so there we go. Next, guy, yep, got a penis, checks out. Next here, start off as a thief, never fails. Next we get color, and truly now my outward self can reflect my inner one. And now the eyes. Who gives a fuck? Now we just skip past the AI, look at their stupid pre-generated names, and BAM! Off we go. Now we get into how the game plays, and well, wouldn't you know, it's a board game! At the start of each turn, you can use either an item or field magic, which are consumables that have various effects. Move a certain amount of spaces, poison another player, all that sort of good stuff. Then, after that, you spin this bad boy, and hey, look at him go! There's all sorts of different things to land on, from spaces that simply make you fight an enemy, give you some random items, or even spaces that tell you to go fuck yourself. So yeah, land on one of these yellow spaces and you'll find yourself in a battle, which I only repeat to give myself an excuse to talk about the battle system. The best way I can generalize it here is just as a turn-based rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors, you go first, I dare you. Okay, maybe not the best analogy, but my point being that it's fairly simple and somewhat reliant on RNG. So to start off, flip a coin and slick. You attack first, and you are presented with 4 options: a basic physical attack, some kind of magic attack, strike, and a class skill. But on the defender side of things, you have a defense, a magic defense, counter, and a give up button. If only it were that easy in real life. And as I'm sure you've already guessed, you brainiacs out there, defend reduces damage from attack, and it works that same way with the magic attack and the magic defense, with counter and strike being slightly different. If the attacker strikes and the defender doesn't counter, they will take an ungodly amount of damage, but if they do select counter, then the attacker will take that ungodly amount of damage. The battle system is a lot simpler in practice than it is to explain, but it still manages to create a lot of nail-biting moments, or ones full of mind games if you're fighting another player. And that's pretty much the basic gist of the game. There's all sorts of little things like NPCs you'll run into and stuff like a casino just chilling somewhere, but that's what the majority of the game is. Spin your little thing, fight some dogshit enemy, and sick, I won. Now I get to wait. God forbid the enemy doesn't die in one turn and you're just sitting there waiting to kick some cobalt shit in. And after explaining all this out loud, it may not sound like the most fun thing, but hey, what board game does when you're explaining it to someone who's never played it before? But while I've been talking about this game so far, I've only lightly brushed upon what is arguably the most infamous thing about it. It's fucking bullshit and brings out the worst in people. But it's all a fun kind of bullshit. The kind where you can laugh reflecting upon the time where your friend who was steamrolling the game for the past 10 hours suddenly got his shit kicked in by the lowest level player through some bullshit, who then rose up to whatever level he was and went on to steal his godly weapon. And this is all by design. Just look at the back of the box. No, wait. Look right here, it says grab your soon-to-be ex-friends, and they aren't lying when they say that. This shit's like Mario Party on crack. The game can be brutal to say the least, and its heavy reliance on RNG really doesn't help. But once again, much like in Mario Party, the RNG helps to give it replayability, and there's still just enough skill and strategy mixed in where it still feels like you have control over where you place when the game is all said and done.
Yeah, get fucked, idiots.
And while I could ramble here about all the bullshit that's in this game, like some kind of entitled game reviewer, it's a lot more fun jumping into it blind and experiencing it all firsthand. But yeah, if you're the type of person who likes themselves a good old-fashioned round of Mario Party, you'll definitely like this game, especially if you're a fan of RPGs as well. Hell, even if Mario Party or RPGs aren't your kind of thing, I'd still say give it a shot if you have some friends to play it with. It may not be your favorite thing of all time, but I'm sure you'll still have fun and make some traumatic memories of the game. I've personally had friends play it who don't know what this or this is, and they've still ended up having a good time. You know, until they rage quit. But mark my words, you will always come crawling back to this game. But I get it. You're a busy man. You can't just easily call up some friends and waste 20 to 30 hours on some stupid weeb game. So I hope I've sold you on it without spoiling too much of the game's patented bullshit mechanics. It's the type of game that works really well when you just need to pass the time in a snowstorm or some shit with some friends. Or, I don't fucking know. I live in California. It's 94 degrees out right now. Now, I've definitely spent more time with this game than most through playing it on and off over the years and exposing a bunch of different people to this torture, and after all that, I can definitely say that Kira is the best thing in this game. She gives you really good items and duck hair.